This is the ultimate gaming keyboard. Completely biased, of course, because it is a collaboration between Wooting and myself. Basically, I reached out to them and said, hey, I've got this idea for a super clean looking keyboard which doesn't exist yet. Would you be interested in maybe making it for me? And they came back and actually said yes. So they had never collaborated with anyone previously, and neither had I, so we didn't really know how it would work. But a bit of time later, here we go, man. This is the finished product. As for what exactly we're looking at here, it's a custom case and keycap set for the Wooting 60HE. The 60HE has been the best gaming keyboard since it came out over 2 years ago. During that time, a lot of brands have attempted to ride that analog keyboard hype, but they've just fallen short every time. Functionality, latency, some of them have these weird firmware quirks like the boards were never plugged in and played with. Honestly, it got to the point where I just stopped testing them because the truth is, you should just buy a 60HE and move on. So for the longest time, I actually had my Wooting 60 in this right here. It's the Tofu 60 from KBD fans. And since then, they've actually come out with a newer model called the Redux, which is this one. Comes in a bunch of different colors, pretty affordable, and I still recommend it. Fits the Wooting 60HE pretty nicely. I wanted something that was just, a little bit more overkill and more heavyweight and premium feeling, so that's where this comes in. First off, it's a completely blank, neutral aesthetic for the case and the keycaps. All of my custom boards in the past have been a very similar colorway, usually a gray or black case with completely blanked out keycaps. And no surprises, for this dream board, I wanted to do the same thing. This time though, it's all gray. And it's a pretty close one-to-one match between the case and the keycaps. This is not something that currently exists on the market. If it did, I would have bought it and there'd be no need to make this product. But when you have this level of matching between the keycaps and the case, man, does it not just look so good. It was, though, surprisingly difficult to get this all matched up. I think because they're two completely different materials, they look different in different lighting. Sometimes you think it's going to match and it just doesn't. I think gray for a lot of people is just kind of hard to work with. There are light grays, dark grays, there's also warm and cool grays, and also magenta tint and green tint grays. You've got the full spectrum of grays there. I'm super neurotic when it comes to tones, so this is just like a fraction of the samples that we went with. But I'm really happy with what we landed on. Of course, there are still going to be some small production variances. The anodizing, for example, on the case is a chemical process. There's likely going to be some small variances there. But at least what I have here, it's about as close as you're going to get. And I think it looks phenomenal. So a closer look at the case here. The typing angle has been reduced a little compared to a lot of other cases on the market, and it's a bit more low profile as well. So just a bit more comfortable on your wrists, especially if you play with an angled keyboard like myself. We also have these really thick bezels wrapping around the perimeter, which I think looks awesome. It was one of the main parts of my design from the beginning. And then as you can see on the back and the bottom, we've got this polished mirror finish. I've reviewed a couple of really expensive custom boards in the past which had this really special looking mirror plate. Wooting agreed that it was a great idea, and full props to them for making it work. As for the PCB mounting, there's nothing super crazy here. I've personally always preferred stiff feeling keyboards, but we've added some small silicone dampers for the standoffs and the mounting screws just to take that edge off a little bit. We've also added the option for a friction fit, which is pretty cool. This was 100% Wooting's idea. If you do want a softer feel and more muted sound, that's for sure the one to go with. The switches I'm using here as well make a really big difference. There are actually way more magnetic switches out there than you might think. If you're still using the original Wooting Leica switches, I would definitely consider upgrading to the Leica 45s or the Gateron Jades. I know there are way more out there, but these are the ones that I've tried so far and they feel really solid. Now, I know there will be more than a few of you who will want to pick this up purely to support myself and the channel. I know that is the most vain, cringy thing to say. Just hearing it out of my own mouth is, unbearable. But honestly, it is true. And how can I not believe that based off of all of the support that you guys give me on these videos? I mean, it really is absolutely insane. But I don't think I could live with myself knowing that someone had worked for a certain amount of money to purchase this to support me. Luckily, I'm at the point where I don't need that kind of support anymore. if I did, I would just start doing sponsored videos. It is much easier than spending the time to make something as refined and niche as this. So yeah, definitely only get this if you actually want it as an upgrade. Personally, I think it's perfect if you're currently running a stock Wooting 60 in the original ABS plastic case. This will be one serious upgrade there. And also for those of you who might be running a full custom keyboard and you still want to retain that premium feel, then maybe you want something that is just way more responsive to play on. If that's the case, then this is definitely it. It is a touch more expensive than a Tofu 60 Redux and Wooting's own aluminium case, but it is also a much more heavyweight design. There are also some really nice savings here if you bundle it all together with a Wooting 60 HE module or are purchasing it as an upgrade. So massive props to Wooting for taking one of my super basic renders and somehow turning it into this. I mean, I honestly cannot stop looking at it. Not only is it the most customizable, responsive gaming keyboard on the inside, but now it's just got this ultra premium case and colorway to match. We also have to thank Wooting for disrupting an entire industry and, completely changing how we look at gaming keyboards. Now we finally have keyboard inputs which feel like they match our mouse and cursor inputs. They will forever be imitated, but they'll always be the original, ultimate analog keyboard.